Okay, hi everyone. I thought I'd jump in here. I did decide to split this video in half, so this will be part 2. In part 1, we explained the materials, everything we needed. We made our covers and we prepared the paper. So we had all that stuff done in part 1. This next part will show you how to actually do the stitch and how to complete it with the covers. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the video, and I will leave the link below for part 1. So let's just jump right in. Alright, so now we've got our holes all punched and they look like they're pretty even and accurate, and hopefully we can get a real nice braid going. So I'm going to keep them going with the top side down again. The top of the book is going to be on here like that, so I can just grab these. We are going to start with the back cover and build our way up to the front cover, so that's why we're just going to leave it in a stack like this. If that's backwards to you, you can do it however you'd like, but just always remember to keep them in the same order that you punched, keep them in the same order that you stacked. Okay, so before we start sewing, so I've got my needle and my thread, and we've already talked about those things. So what I'm going to do, since this is such fine detail work, I am going to show you in a large fashion what we're actually going to start doing. And I might actually pick this up and do another lesson or whatever in the middle. But for now, I'm going to show you how we're going to start. So we're going to start with the back cover, as I mentioned, and then the back signature. Okay, so this is just one sheet of paper, but it's our signature. So we're going to take our needle and thread, poke it down through the center of the signature, and then just pull it through like that. Now we're going to pick up our back cover, and our top is over here on the left side. And then we're going to hold them sort of together there. Then we are going to bring our needle and thread up through the outside cover. I need to really be careful because when I'm zoomed in like this, I have a tendency to go out of frame. So I'm going to try to be very careful with that. So through the outside back cover, we're going to stick our needle and thread through there. So we're actually sort of looping around the cover. And just make sure that your fold with your edge of the book sort of stay together like this. What else was I going to mention? I was just going to mention, I'm not sure, it'll probably come up again. Okay, so our needle and thread is down through here. Now we need to bring that needle and thread back up, and we're going to bring it up around this horizontal piece. So what I'm going to start calling this is post, because in crochet it's called a post. So here's our post. We're going to bring this up on the left side of our post. I know what I was going to say. You can start at the bottom of the book or the top of the book. It doesn't matter as long as you keep it all consistent. Okay, so we're bringing that up around our post, and then we're going to wrap around. So we have to stick it between the two layers again. We're going to wrap it around the post. Okay, bring it up, snug up that knot a little bit, and then we're going to bring our needle and thread back through that very same hole that we started with in the signature. You'll just have to forgive me. I know this is a crude way. And then just keep your threads nice and straight and even and snug. Okay? So when you've got a knot going this way, you can snug it up by pulling straight up, straight out, or towards like this. Okay? Then the next stitch, we're going to take our needle and thread back down through just the signature hole, and then back up through the cover and do the same exact thing. So now this is how we do it. That's kind of the basic stitch anyway, but this is how we do it particularly when we're working with our back cover. Okay, the front cover is a little different, so when we get to that I'll show you. Okay, so here's the back cover, front cover and back cover. So this is how we're going to start with the inside facing up. Then we're going to take our sheet, our back sheet, and sort of lay it on here, and we're going to just start working. I already have a knot in here, so Coptic stitches, it's not a problem if you have knots. Like some stitching knots are a problem, but this is not. So we're going to take our, whoops, I have a little lint in there. Let me get that out. Going to take our needle, bring it through that hole. You don't have to worry about lining this up yet. I'm just holding them together for this next step. Okay, so snug that up a little bit. Don't pull too hard, but snug that up a little bit with the fold. Okay, then what you're going to do, I'm sort of turning it now. You're going to bring this needle up through the back cover. Okay, and it's not going to go through the paper. We're just bringing it through the cover. So it's actually, can you see? It's just going through both sides there, or I mean through both items. So like in between both items, I should say. Okay. Then, so if you get a knot, you know, don't worry. Just kind of. Work with it a little bit. Whoops, this one is giving me fits. There we go. Okay, I did wax this. Okay, now we just pull that. All right, keeping it a little bit snug. We don't want our knots to be loose. Okay, so now this thread is in between the layers, right? Now we're gonna bring our needle to the left side. You can bring up your needle to the left side. There we go. I think I could have done that in the last step, but so the needle's on the left side. I'm always going to be making our knots from the left side going to the right. Okay, you could do it opposite, and that's fine too. Now, okay, so now I need to explain. So now what we're going to do is we're going to wrap our thread around the post. Remember, the post is that area that's going horizontal to the spine. Wrap it, or I mean, just bring it down and then up around that whole thing, okay? And then just keep pulling on your needle. Now these ends, the top and bottom stitches, are going to be like a half a braid, but the center ones are going to be the full braid. So these will look different than these. So once you get going with that, don't worry if these look different, because they will. Now we're going to talk about tugging a little bit. So you can tug this. See, I'm going in the same direction as the thread came out. Just tug that tightly. Don't start tugging it. If the thread is coming out like this direction, don't tug in the perpendicular direction, otherwise you're going to rip the paper. And I'll be mentioning that again one more time because of the way this other part has to be tugged. So, but we're going to get to that in a second. Okay, so now we've got that. Now we need to take our needle and bring it through that same exact hole that we came out of. And the key to this too is to not catch your needle in the thread that's on the other side, which I didn't, so that's good. But if I would have had to start over and sort of hold this to the side and then put the needle through so it doesn't catch. So all these steps, it's kind of important to keep tugging and keep it nice and tight. Okay, if it's too loose, then your book's going to be loose. Okay, there's that. Okay, now the next step, you need to pull that, keep it tight. The next step is to go through. Now we're on the inside of our signature again. We're going to go through just the paper again, one more time. Just the paper. We're going to go through that next hole. Okay, so there's our needle coming out. Now this is the part I was talking about. So let me get that knot out of the way so you can see what I'm talking about. There's our thread coming down. And we can now pull this, but we're going to pull it, since the thread is going this way, we have to pull it this way to tighten it. If we pulled it down like this, it's going to rip backwards and just rip that whole thing out, and then it'll be ruined. I'm not sure how you could fix that. So that's something that we need to try not to do. So when our thread is going this way, we pull horizontally. When our thread is coming out this, once we knot it and our thread is coming out this way, we can pull up and down. All right, so now next step again, you guys probably remember. So we go through underneath the back cover, through that next hole, and then our needle will come out between, whoops. You'd think I never would have done this before. Never had done this. Okay, so now our needle is going through that next hole. Next hole. And right there, we're going to pull that. See, I'm having to flip the paper back and forth, and that's okay, no big deal. Okay, so now the thread is in between our layers again. And don't worry, this is more awkward, just putting the covers on. The rest of it's going to be super, super easy. Okay, so now see how the thread is going horizontally? Now I can tug this way to follow the thread. All right. Now we're going to bring our thread back, or I mean our needle back down through the layers on the left side. Remember I said I kind of was doing it that way? We're going to put our needle back in around that post. Okay, around the post, and then tighten it up. All right, and we can pull up and down now, and then back through the hole. Bring it out, tighten it again, and then back down through the next hole. I'm probably going to do this stitch this time, and then break it for a minute, and then I'll come back and show you how to add the next signature. Okay, so there we go. We put it through that next hole. I'm tugging it this way. All right. And then through the cover again, through that next hole in the cover. And here it comes up. All right. Back down through the left side. Tug. Make sure the edges are even with each other. Around the post with your needle. Pull up and back through the hole. Making sure not to snag any of the other threads that are there. Good. And then pull. And this can go straight up, straight up. When we go sideways like this, that's when we don't pull straight up, we pull sideways, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead, actually, I might just go ahead and do another stitch because there's only one left where it's gonna be different. Okay, so this pull to the side, back down through the cover. Okay, pull that through the left side of the post. Give that a tug around the post on the right side, so we're looping over the post through the back. Tug, and then through the same hole. Okay, there we go, and give that a tug. Tug. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing, but it'll be different at the end. So show you that. Through the next hole, and remember this is the one where we're going to tug sideways. These need to be nice and even if possible. Through the back cover. It's easy at the end because you can just lift up the corner. There we go. We came out through the left side of the post. We're going around the post in the back. Come back up. And then instead of going back through this hole, we're going to add our next signature on top, making sure that the top page is at the top of the book. The top edge of the page is at the top of the book cover. And now, instead of going back down through the same hole, right, we're going through the hole of the signature of the next signature. So there's that. Okay, and there's no wrapping on this side next because that is the end of it, and that's why the top and bottom rows are going to look a little different. Okay, so but then we continue with the same stitch. So I'll show you one time here. So this goes down through the next hole, and now we don't have to wrap around the cover anymore, which is super nice. But I'll show you what's next here. So we're coming out, tug it going horizontally like that. Okay, so we came out on the left side of the post already. We are going to wrap the needle around, except it's not going to be directly under right here because that doesn't wrap around anything. See, this is not attached yet. It's going to be under the next signature. So we're actually going to wrap it. Let's say this is signature number 1. We're actually wrapping it under signature number 2 because that's the one now that has the post. This other one doesn't even have a post yet, but we're going to make one right now. Okay, so give that a tug. And then back through the same hole. And now we're going to be starting our braid. Pretty soon we're going to start to see that. Actually, you can see that a little bit, how that is coming. So I'm going to do one more stitch. Okay. Come up through the left side of the post if you can. And then take your needle and wrap it around the post. Will be the signature directly under the one you're working on. Okay, and then pull it snug back through the same hole. All right, so you can see how we're going. We're getting a little pattern here. Once you come to the end, it's going to be the same way, where you don't go through at the very end of your wrapping around the post. At the very end of that stitch, you do not go through the same hole. You're going to go through the hole of a new one that you're going to put on top, just like we did over here. Okay, so I'm going to continue going, and I'll be back and I'll show you another little bit in the middle. All right, I'm at a point where I have hardly any thread left. I feel like this is a great place to stop, and I will show you how to end the thread and begin another one. So I wrapped my needle around the post and pulled it, snugged it up a little bit. Now I'm ready to go back in through the signature. Oops. In through the signature. So you can see I've been working a little bit. Got some signatures all stacked up and going to town here. Okay, so I'm pulling that through. I went through the same hole and pulling it through. And now just lay this down, snug it up a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to take my needle, put it underneath that thread that goes straight across there. I'm pulling this up so you can see better. Okay, so I put my needle underneath that, catching that, and then I'm just going back down through the loop that I just made, and then I'm going to pull up. And I'm going to double knot this, so I'm just going to do that one more time. taking the needle, going underneath, okay, and I just made a loop, so I'm going to stick that needle back through that loop, pull it, pull it, and snug it up right at the fold, okay, just like that. And now you can cut this off. You can keep it long and then wrap it in when you're all done, or just cut it off, just cutting it off a little bit. So then the next part, I put a knot in the end of this new thread now, and on the other end I'm going to thread my needle, and like I said, I'm only using one strand, so I'm just basically just keeping this short up here. There we go. Then we are going to do it the same way as when we started. We're going to put our needle down through the hole in the center, just through the paper. And now you can see that it's a little bit of a tighter situation, right? We're not using the cover. So I'm going to show you how to do a stitch on this once we get to this middle section. It's the same, it just looks a little different, so I'm just going to show you. So I'm just pulling that, snugging it up a little, okay, off to the left, and then I'm wrapping my needle around, putting it in the right side. Oh, if I can straighten myself out here. Okay, so I'm putting my needle in through the right side around the post, which is going to be through this signature that's underneath the one I'm working on. So right there. Can you see that? So it's one below the top one. So I'm wrapping my needle around the post, and this is where that curved needle comes in so handy. See how that just sits there like that? And then we're just going to pull it. So we've got a nice tight braid. All right. And then we're going to bring our needle back through the hole. So same thing as we always do. I'm holding my knot off to one side so I don't snag it with this needle. It's pretty easy to do once you get those big knots in there. Okay, I'm pulling it through. Sorry, off camera a tiny bit. So I have some lint. I had some lint in there. I just had to pull it out. Okay, so that is how that is working. In through the next hole, and it's all the same, but it gets in the center. I think it's easy because everything is all snugged up. The one thing I will mention too is to keep your pages level and even with the cover, because on my mistake one, as I showed you before, I have it curved in like this. I just wasn't as careful as I should have been. So when I was knotting it, it was sort of slanting, you know, every which way, and I wasn't paying that much attention to that, and so that's how I got like this uneven edge right here, and that does not look good at all. It's horrible, in fact. See that? So uneven. So I'm trying, maybe it's overkill, but I try so hard now to keep that nice and level with the book cover. Okay, so that's one thing I also wanted to mention, because don't do what I did, because that was a lot of work for, you know, wasting it. All right, so I am going to, let's see, where are we at? Oh yeah, here we go. We're pulling it through, forgot. Okay, so now we're on the left side of the post. I'm trying to keep my papers up. And then putting it down through the signature underneath the one we're working on. Okay, pull that through, and then we get our nice little braid going. And I'll show you one more time the end here. I'll show you that one more time, as long as we're doing a few stitches right here in the middle, because it does look a little different than when we first started, right? So I'm going to do that. Bring it down through the center of the signature. Get our nice little flat line going here. Tug it this way. Okay, left side of the post, wrap around through the right side and then back up. And then not put it through the hole, but grab another signature, put it on top, and then the needle goes through that first hole there. And then it's the same thing over and over. And then when we get to the back cover, I will come back on and we will explain that. Okay, here we are at the end. So all the signatures except the last one. So the last one is not in yet, but our needle and thread is over here. I've wrapped it around the post, and then now would be the usual time where we would put it through the hole in the next signature, but we're not going to do that. We're going to skip that. We're just going to lay this in here, and we'll be putting our string through the hole in just a second. So it's not going to be skipped totally, but we're skipping it just for this next part is just a little different. Okay, so we're going to hold it there. So make sure to hold that signature there. Bring your cover and lay it on top. You might need to keep your fingers sort of separating it, because what we're going to do is we're going to bring, just as we did with the back cover, we're going to bring our needle and thread back around the cover and through the front of it. So let me do that. So you can see that's wrapping around the cover. Now we still have a loose signature, right? But we're not going to ignore that. We're going to get to that in just a second. Still hold it together. Then we're going to bring our needle through the right and wrap it around the post, just like we did before. Same area, same spot. The next signature down. Okay. Same thing we did before. Make sure that we're all tight here. Okay, so we wrapped it around the post, and now is the time we're going to bring it. So you're going to have to like maybe finagle a little bit, but we are going to bring our needle back down through that signature that was still loose. That's very, very top signature. So I am trying to get to the hole, and you may need to set this down and work on it differently here. So I'm going to try it one more time. Keep that tight. Okay. Yep, I'm not getting it, so I'm going to have to, what I'm going to do is just pull this up just a little bit, and then I can move it over when I'm all done here. When I'm done getting the needle through the hole. It's hard to see, isn't it? Alrighty. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to crack this open so I can reach it a little bit better. So I'm going to have, the knot is loosening up now. So before I pull this tight, I'm going to have to get it all tightened up, but that's okay. Once this first stitch is in, it does start getting easier. So now I'm pulling that through the center. Let me just show you. So I put it through that loose signature, I put it through the hole, and now it pulls through the center. See that? Okay, but before I go any further, I am going to sort of tighten this up a little bit, so that it's not just hanging around like that. So I actually found this all to be very, very helpful when you have to go back and tighten something, or even if you have to go back and loosen some stitches, remove some stitches, undo stitches, not remove but undo them. So I found the awl to be pretty helpful here. There, so I pulled that. And now let me see if I can pull this. No, not getting it. There we go. Now let's see. There we go. So just pull that nice knot so it's nice and tight. All right. And then you probably guessed what's next. We're gonna put it through the hole, next hole up. Okay. Oops, it came loose, so let me set that down for a second. Okay, so we're putting it through the hole. And then we're going to go up through the cover. Except we're going to bring it through on the right side, not the left side like I have. Okay, there we go. Okay. Wrap it around the post that is down through that next signature that's underneath. So the second signature down, wrap it around the post, bring it up, and then we are going to slip that needle through the hole of the signature. Okay, so see, it's getting a little bit easier here. The covers are the tricky part. It's not too bad otherwise. I'm gonna try that again. Oops. There we go. I had it and then I pulled it out with my finger. Try again. There we go. See that? Needle came up finally. Pull it tight, and then go down through the next hole. And then that goes up and around the cover. And then back down through. On the left side. And tighten it up a little bit. Put your needle in through the next signature down. Okay, wrap it around the post. And then back down through the hole in the signature. Oops. Right there. Okay, let's see if we got it. We did. Tug it up. Down through the next hole. This is probably a little boring, but it is different, you know, putting the cover on. So back through that hole in the cover. And then slip that through on the left side. Oops, I keep getting, it's just the right length to get stuck. But we'll wrap it around the post. Second signature down. Wrap around the post. And then we just have one stitch left, so and then back through the signature hole. All right, see if we got it. We did. Okay. Pull down through the next one, and we are almost done. Okay, so through the hole. Around the cover. Whoops. I lost my thread there. Seems like things always go wrong when you don't want them to, right? But I'll get it. I will get this. There we go. All right. Next step is around down through the one signature down around the post. Okay, and then through the hole in the top signature. See if we got it. We did. All right, and then we're going to tie a knot. Underneath. Whoa. I had a giant tangle there that I didn't see. All right, try again. Just when you're filming. Okay. So, as I was saying, so you go underneath the signature string, through the hole, and pull it down. Same thing, one more time. Underneath the signature string, through the hole. You can go through the whole front part, back part, it doesn't matter. And that's it. And if you want to put the strings underneath these, you just sort of weave it in and out like this. Just in and out. And then you can clip it off. Like that. There's our book. What do you think? You gonna give it a try? I hope you do. It's so much fun. I love it. It lays flat. I'll weave these under. There you go. A nice project, and if you haven't tried it, it's worth it. It's worth a try. It's really fun. I love it, and I plan on making at least a couple more since it's on the brain now. All right, guys, that's it for today. Like I said, I'm not sure if I'm going to make this a two-parter. I have to go back and see how long this is and do some editing. So, but I will check that out. Thank you for joining me today, and I'm sorry I got stuck a few times, but if you push through, you know, it's worth it in the end. And we can learn from each time we do it. We're getting a little bit better. So I hope you enjoyed it, and take care, everybody. Please follow us on social media if you don't already. We have a YouTube channel, and we have an Etsy shop, and we're on Instagram. So we would love to have you join us and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. So take care, and we will catch you later. Bye.